Hello and welcome to the best build in the game. Nope, this wasn't clickbait. This can one-shot Echo Knight, technically two-shot, and also can't die. So yeah, I think this is literally the best build in the game, but feel free to prove me wrong if you can in the comments. Just as a warning, this build will almost guaranteed get nerfed, so if you do try this, keep this in mind that it may not last that long. It's way too strong and it will be a nerf well deserved. So let's take a look at how to make this. Let me start by saying that you do have to have a specific unique ring to make this work at all. After that, you can make the build better and better with each item I'll be showing, but except the unique ring, nothing's mandatory per se. We are running a low life build here, using plague downsides to get us down to that low life threshold, which means our low life enchantments are always active. You might be thinking that this is probably a risky way to play, but nope, we're pretty much immortal with this build. So how does the build play? Simply spam your rune attack of choice over and over and lifesteal all the damage that you deal to yourself. We can use a physical damage rune to deal damage, ice ram to freeze and then shatter, or cold enchantment on your main weapon and then switch to your second weapon to do massive shatter damage. So what is the item that makes all this possible? Ring of Determination. This ring lets you use life instead of focus when you don't have enough focus to spend. However, there's a lot more to this build than just this ring. It's just the item that makes this all possible in the first place. So let's take a look at the build properly. So the weapon for this really doesn't matter. You can actually use any weapon, not just any two-hander either, but any weapon you like. This just works really well with two-handers because we'll be shattering enemies after freezing them. But yeah, feel free to use any weapon / weapon type that you want. We have cold enchantment in our weapon. We can infinitely keep this up due to how the build works. So we don't need to infuse our gem with a sapphire to give it a cold infusion. If you also can't be bothered using cold enchantment all the time, we also have Ice Ram that basically freezes every enemy anyway. It's also a pretty fast attack for a two-hander. We're using Juggle Strike as the main heavy hitting rune, but any 100 cost really works. And then Swipe Kick isn't used in this build, I just had it in there from another build. We have a Bloodstone as our gem, which heals us back up after each rune attack. And then for the enchants, we have damage increased at low life because we're constantly at low life, healing for our lifesteal, and then nothing really matters after that. Maybe item weight will save you a point in equip load. As for downsides, we can use max focus decreased and lose focus when hit, but we shouldn't use focus cost increases ever. You can also use the unrepairable combo if you really want to. The second weapon should have a single hit 100 cost rune attack so that we maximize the shatter damage. Or if you have a more expensive, harder hitting rune, feel free to use that. We want a physical damage gem to maximize damage, then damage increased at low life is really the only thing that matters for the enchants. Healing's also good to have, but it doesn't really matter that much. I'd also run damage surge in this. I just have a damage surge on another random weapon in my bag. For the rest of the gear, I'm running a plate body, leather helm, cloth legs and gloves. You can change the armor types around, but I'd recommend not really to run full cloth, just because we're a low life build and we want to be quite tanky. For the helm, we want a sapphire in it, then cold damage increased, damage taken decreased, focus decreased at low health, and health once per rune attack is kind of just a bonus. I have max health decreased as a downside. You don't need this specifically on your helm, but you will need 3 items total with this on it to hit the less than 50% threshold for low health. For the armor, I have a feather in this because it's plate. Feel free to change this around for your own needs. Health or healing for this build works here. The only other thing that matters is frozen enemy armor decreased, the rest you can do whatever you want with. For the gloves, sapphire is ideal. You can also use Dianite to reduce the health cost of the runes if you want, or a blood gem for regainable health. Damage taken decreased and physical damage are the only enchants that actually matter on these. And onto legs, use any gem that you really like here. The only 2 stats that matter enchant wise are healing and damage taken decreased. Damage increased after damage dodge is also a nice bonus if you can get it. And now for the rings, these are really important. So the Ring of Determination is obviously what makes the build work. Not only does it allow us to use health instead of focus, it also reduces the health cost based on our missing health. And due to us being at low life all the time, we get a massive reduction constantly. And alongside our helmet also giving us a sizable reduction in health cost, our rune costs aren't really that much. I'm also running a Scarlet Ring. This just makes your attributes more point efficient. You can see that I have 46 focus, which gives me 500 health total. When this is halved, due to us being a low life build, we still have around 250 health, which is probably more than most people have normally. This ring isn't mandatory, you can still build around the Ring of Determination without the Scarlet Ring if you wanted to. You can trade it for a Plagued Ring and then use another gem in your weapon instead of lifesteal, and then you can have less Plague downsides for max health as well. And lastly is the Rune Ring here. I wouldn't swap this out with anything else. The only thing we're gonna be using is rune attacks, so it's pretty good. And my attributes on this character can be seen at the side. I would definitely not put any points in health or stamina here. We don't really need it. Feel free to change the equip load to suit your own needs. You can also run less focus, which is actually health for us due to the Scarlet Ring, but there's not really a need for more damage for this build, honestly. As I mentioned at the start of the video, you can use any weapon setup you want. I tried this out with bows and it was totally fine. The only thing I would say if you're using bows is that I thought Cone Shot would have extra damage for each arrow on the shatter, but it doesn't work that way. So if you build this with bows, I'd shatter with Knockout Arrow, which is a single hitting bow rune, which can be found on Pale Ash, or just use your main weapon to shatter instead. Let me know if you guys are going to try out this build, or if you think it just cheapens gameplay for you. It's fun, but it sort of trivializes the game, but I guess a lot of games are like that end game anyway. It was fun for me to make the build, and it is fun to play, but it might get old quick, so let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next one.